Welcome back to GT Lab. Today we're going to be talking about something that's honestly quite difficult to categorize. At first glance, it looks like a graphic EQ, but just spend a few minutes with this and you'll quickly realize that it's an instrument in its own right. This is the Erica Synths Resonant Filterbank. It's designed for producers and performers who want to go way beyond simple tone shaping and into completely new territory. So rather than giving you a menu by menu tutorial, I want to show you some of the features that really stood out to me, and more importantly, what they actually sound like. So what is this? At its heart, the Resonant Filterbank is a fully analog 10-band stereo filter bank. Each of those 10 bands can be boosted or cut individually, covering frequencies from 29 Hz all the way up to 11 kHz, using quality analog filter circuits with premium fill capacitors. Now that might sound a bit technical, but the important thing here is how musical it feels. So I'm just going to play a drum beat here and show you with the resonance just in the middle there and the input gain just in the middle. I can just use it almost like an EQ. So I can bump the kick drum if I want. You can see I can just emphasize certain bands. So completely trying to change up the sound, but it gets even more interesting than that. So I'll bring these back. If I crank the gain, we get into this kind of territory. But what's really interesting is if I crank the resonance, we can get into this kind of thing. Straight away you can hear that you're not just EQing the sound, you're almost re-instrumenting it. Kick drums become huge, snares can jump forward, textures appear that simply weren't there before. It's more than a filter bank. One thing I really like that Erica Synths described this as is both a studio processor and a performance instrument, and I completely understand why. Everything is laid out with physical sliders and there's not a lot of menu diving. You can simply reach for the frequency and move it. And because it's analog, those movements feel incredibly immediate. Okay, let's turn things up a notch a bit and talk about the resonance. The Resonant Filterbank has configurable resonant feedback loops, and this is where things become really creative. With the resonance dialed in gently, you can emphasize frequencies. Push it further and individual bands begin to self-oscillate. Erica Synths even mentioned using this almost like a no-input mixer, generating sounds from its own feedback network. We also have a filter mode. Instead of behaving like 10 separate filters, the Resonant Filterbank can actually emulate a multi-mode filter. You can create low pass, high pass, band pass, and notch filtering, all from those analog filter bands. Let's have a listen. This is probably my favorite part. Every filter band can have its own modulation. There are 20 independent LFOs and 20 independent envelope followers. Instead of static filtering, the entire frequency spectrum can constantly evolve. Here's a synth pad with no modulation. Now let's bring in some LFO movement. Suddenly, the sound starts to feel alive. Instead of repeating exactly the same way every bar, it slowly shifts and evolves over time. And if you'd rather have the incoming audio drive the movement, simply switch over to the envelope followers. Now every frequency reacts dynamically to the performance itself. Another cool feature is clocked modulation mode. Instead of continuously moving the filters, it samples modulation values in time with either the internal clock or incoming MIDI clock. Think of it almost like a spectral sample and hold effect. It's a really clever way of introducing movement without needing external modulation sources. There's also a dynamic equalizer mode, which almost works like a spectral compressor. Instead of compressing the entire signal, it reacts to individual frequencies independently. Because this is built for performance, nearly everything can be controlled via MIDI CC. You can automate filter movements from your DAW, sequence resonant changes, sync modulation to MIDI clock, or even record your live movements back into the DAW as MIDI automation. There's also 128 snapshot memory, so once you've created something you love, you can instantly recall it later. Even better, you can morph smoothly between snapshots, making transitions feel incredibly organic instead of abruptly jumping from one sound to another. One feature I think performers are going to love is the macro page. Instead of reaching for a lot of different controls, you can assign multiple parameters to individual sliders. So one movement can simultaneously open the filter, increase resonance, speed up an LFO, and adjust several frequency bands all at once. If you're looking for a piece of hardware that encourages experimentation, helps you discover sounds you didn't even know were hiding in your synths, and becomes an instrument every time you touch it, then I think Erica Synths have created something genuinely special here. Get yourselves down to a store, try one out, and see where the sonic possibilities are going to take you.